And we are going to come back and finish up this whole idea of the crimes against children, or in essence, the pedophile child molester conversation. So we finished up last video talking about the sadistic child molester, and now we need to actually go into the talking about the fixated and the immature and regressed, in essence, those two together. So fixated is similar to the pedophile, except some different things, like basically they once again don't have a whole lot of activities with people their own age. They tend to pick young boys as their preferred target, or sexual target, however you want to word that. They like to basically appear to be very similar to those children that they target. So they may like to have, say, video games or any other toys or sports affiliated things that would that children of the age that they are targeting would be interested in. They want to basically kind of camouflage or make themselves seem like more approachable, more as almost a way to lure kids and children that they are wanting to molest, lure them into their presence. Sometimes they'll use, sometimes it'll be internet-based, like say online gaming, and then they ultimately meet that child somewhere, or have the child meet them somewhere. It could be anything that would allow them to get that child in their presence to where they could use them. All right, so they like if they use like I said, that chat room is another way of doing it. Not used as much anymore, but it can be. They self-identify as, even though most of their targets are young boys, they tend to identify themselves as being heterosexual. They may even be in a relationship, whether it be married or not, but they will consider themselves to be heterosexual, but they like to basically have that ability to be over and to molest a child of their own sex or their own gender. Okay. Though uniquely to, you would think that someone who's going to just use someone, you would think that they'd be more likely to be, aggressive or anything like that. But actually, in the hunt itself, or trying to go after these kids, like I said, with the video games, the different areas of interest, they're not aggressive. They're trying to, like I said earlier, lure them in. And then what you end up having then is, like I said, they once again, even though they're only going to use the child in that way, they don't want to have a true relationship, but they see them as a way to get sexual gratification. They're still going to, in their own mind, try to get consent. Even though we usually we typically view child molesters as not worrying about consent or anything like that. That's not necessarily the case, especially with these. It's not like they don't, like I said earlier, they don't want that relationship, but they do want, in their minds, to have some type of consent, to use that child for their sexual pleasure. Okay. So that's essentially what we're looking at with fixated. They're still fixated on that same age group, trying to make themselves appear to be able to hang out with that age group, that target group. They're those young boys, get their interest, get their trust, and then use them sexually. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move forward to the last group, this immature or regressed child molester. And once again, they don't have as much of an issue with moving around, but they oftentimes, these are individuals that will suffer from things like dementia, or has some type of disability, and that forces him to live closer to family and friends, or be a care provider. Okay. So like I said, that can be mental, physical illness. Usually, like I said, it can be either one of those, or to go along with the mental side of it, sometimes you do run into individuals who have some form of dementia, And what you'll find out with dementia is that not always the case, but a lot of times if it's severe enough or goes on long enough, it will impact someone's personality and what they believe. Like you may have someone who never in their, the majority of their life never had, say they never cursed, never did anything that would be considered bad or whatever. But I've seen people, unfortunately, who have struggled with dementia who, like I said, never cussed, and all of a sudden they are using the F-bomb and every other thing regularly. It has to do with the dementia side of things. A little side note here I'll throw out there. People are making this whole big deal about COVID-19. Do you realize that there's over double the number of people every year that die from Alzheimer's, as opposed to we're talking about COVID-19 being so, people being so scared of it. More people die of Alzheimer's. More people die of so many other things than COVID-19. It's ridiculous. And it's basically the same number of people that die every year from flu. So it's not like it's not like Ebola. Okay, it's not going to go out there and kill everybody. Also, let's see what else I wanted to point out to you about that. I think honestly that's about it, without going on a big rant about how ridiculous some of these restrictions are or concerns are about COVID-19. But other than that, let's get back on topic for like I said, finish up what we're talking about. And going back to this idea of mental, physical disabilities or something along those lines for the immature or regressed molester, they are using the children as a way to cope or to manage whatever their difficulty is right then. So instead of handling it in some other healthier fashion, they have elected to choose controlling and sexually abusing, in essence, a child or someone who is a minor. All right. So to finish up, some other things I want to kind of try to find some commonalities between these different child molesters. A lot of them, I've already stated, a lot of them use some form of technology to prey on their different victims or stay in contact with them. They may, especially the sadistic or fixated subtypes. And then a lot of them, when you arrest them, will have child porn on their computers or in their possession. Sometimes pictures of their victims or others, but especially if they have victims, they'll have them pictures with them somewhere, whether it be it could be digital or it could be an actual photo somewhere where it would be in there, whether it be if they have a job. Sometimes they've had people have pictures of them there or at their home, wherever they spend some time. That's where they'll have like desk drawers, things like that. So remember, if you're ever going to be doing executing a search warrant or even trying to write a search warrant, keep in mind those places to look, like a laptop, desks, desk drawers, things like that, to find those types of pictures that would be evidence. Okay. And the vast majority of pedophiles, but especially child molesters, were abused themselves when they were children, when they were younger. So just keep those things in mind. That should pretty much sum it up. I know a lot of you asked about trying to do the whole arson chapter, and if I get time, I'll try to do that. It's just things are really, really busy right now. So because a lot of you have been busy, and I'm just as busy, if not more so, just because we all have a lot of things trying to going on right now. So anyway, I will try to work on that. If I can get it to you, great. If not, I'll let you know. But keep checking your emails, keep checking announcements. Make sure you're staying on top of not only my class but other classes that you have. And I will probably send out at least one more outside of the lessons. There is kind of a summary announcement or video, if you want to call it that I'd like to send out to you guys at the end of the semester, just to share my thoughts with you. So Otherwise, you guys have a good day, or all of you try to enjoy it. It's nice weather here if you can't enjoy it. I know some of you are working more, some of you are staying busy in other ways, but just stay safe and God bless.